29 FHR coordinator at Brightlayer, a small tech marketing firm, master's degree in organizational behavior, tuition cost, roughly the same as a brand new BMW. But it gave me perspective, a framework to understand. Hierarchy, intersectionality, structural bias. Brightlayer is my first legitimate career job office sits in Seattle. Tucked into a refurbished brick building, my day-to-day mostly means mediating arguments between designers about creative direction, also coordinate the monthly diversity lunch rotation. I treat the role like a mission. I am basically the caretaker of the company's safe workplace culture. I was the one who pushed through the scent-free office policy. I was also the one who swapped the old men/women restroom plaques for stalls/urinals signage. I am actively doing the work. Company is growing fast. Now we bought the rundown warehouse next door to convert into a giant media production, studio, podcast rooms, motion capture stage, green screen walls, even a VR testing area, full-scale renovation, project leadership hired, Titan build contractors, very traditional construction firm, union crew, heavy equipment, serious machinery, big trucks, loud engines, bigger men. For the past 3 months, my peaceful office environment has basically been under attack. Their work zone shares a wall with my office every morning, exactly 7 a.m., noise begins, jackhammers shaking the drywall, industrial drills screaming like tortured metal fine dust, drifting onto my succulents on the windowsill. But honestly, the sound isn't even the worst part. It's the presence these guys take up space in a way that feels aggressive. They cut through our lobby to reach their entrance outside muddy boots on our polished floors, fluorescent safety vests practically blinding. They smell like diesel fumes, sawdust, and stale work jackets. It completely disrupts the office energy. Then the moment that starts, everything rainy. Tuesday morning, standard, Pacific Northwest, gray sky. I'm in the kitchenette preparing a latte, carefully whisking the milk because the foam texture matters. The kitchenette window overlooks the narrow alley between buildings. That alley is apparently the Titan Build crew's smoke break area. Look outside, about 10 of them, standing around cigarettes, lit. Smoke drifting suspiciously close to our building's air intake. By the way, they were eating giant sandwiches from some lunch truck. Then I noticed their foreman. Everyone calls him Big Tony. Guy is enormous easily. 6'6" thick beard, like a medieval warrior, hands the size of baseball gloves. Wearing a battered brown work jacket that looks like it survived a demolition. Darby, he's standing there surrounded by 3 younger guys, probably apprentices. I open the window, just a crack, tell myself. I'm checking if smoke is getting inside, truth is. I'm observing the social environment. I need to know what kind of cultural energy is surrounding our workspace. Hear Tony's voice deep and gravelly like a cement mixer full of rocks. I told him you can't just shove it in there. You gotta grease the joint first, line it up straight, then ease it in slow. Force it and you'll wreck the threads. The group erupts, laughing loud, crude laughter echoing through the alley. One apprentice slaps his leg. That's what she said. Tony flashes a grin through his beard. Kid, pipe fitting is delicate work. Respect the tolerance. I slam the window shut. Immediately my hands are shaking, heart pounding in my chest, feel nauseous. It's literally 2026. This is a professional work environment, and these men are making sexualized jokes about plumbing, parts blatant innuendo, objectification, misogynistic undertones, comparing women to mechanical hardware, classic hostile workplace language. I just stare down at my latte. The foam has completely collapsed, kind of symbolic, honestly. Then something clicks in my head. This isn't just annoying, this is an opportunity. My chance to prove the importance of HR, filing a complaint, would be passive. I need to drive actual change. I need to reshape this culture. The planning phase begins next 2 days. I'm in total focus mode. Ignore payroll reminders, ignore complaints about thermostat. Settings working non-stop on a proposal title. Workplace synergy, bridging blue-collar and white-collar communication through inclusive language. Open the construction contract between Brightlayer and Titan Build document is nearly 200 pages of legal text, read every section searching for leverage. Finally find it. Page 37, clause 3.4. Subsection B, contractor personnel must comply. with client workplace policies regarding conduct, safety, and harassment prevention while operating on site. Perfect our workplace policy. Handbook is extremely thorough, mandatory DEI. Training every quarter. If they're physically on our property, they fall under our standards. Start designing. The curriculum needs to be comprehensive. Gender identity spectrum, microaggressions, importance of pronouns, discussion on toxic masculinity. In trades culture, schedule a 3-hour intensive seminar, Friday afternoon, ideal timing, Thursday morning. I march straight into the COO's office. His name is Ryan, classic startup executive, typing aggressively on a mechanical keyboard that sounds like a machine gun. Ryan, we have a situation. He jumps in his chair. What happened? Servers down? No, the construction crew. Explain I've documented repeated incidents of sexually suggestive and exclusionary language in shared spaces. Slide a manila folder across his desk. Printed the pipe-fitting quote on company letterhead. If a junior employee overhears this, Ryan, we're facing potential Title VII exposure. Hostile workplace environment, third-party liability. His face goes pale. Title VII? You're serious? Completely serious. Tell him we have both a legal and ethical responsibility to intervene. He rubs his forehead. Should I call the contractor's owner? I raise my hand immediately. No confrontation. Education, tell him I've already designed a training program and I want the entire construction crew brought in tomorrow for a mandatory seminar tomorrow. Ryan leans back in his chair. Hazel, they're literally pouring the concrete base for the server vault this week. That crew is already behind schedule. I keep my voice calm. What costs more, Ryan? A 3-hour pause or a $4 million discrimination lawsuit? I let the number sit in the room. He rubs both temples like he has a migraine forming, looks exhausted already. Fine, but you have to run it by their foreman. If he agrees to shut down work, I'll authorize the building access. He clearly thinks they'll refuse. He assumes I'll back off when confronted. He doesn't understand something about me. When I have the moral high ground, I actually enjoy the confrontation. Prepare for the site visit. Grab the company-issued hard hat, bright white. Still looks brand new. Never seen a single speck of dust. Throw on the fluorescent orange safety vest. It hangs off me like a tarp. I cinch it tight. With a belt, lace up my waterproof. Timberland boots, expensive ones. Step outside through the back door. Immediately enter construction's chaos noise. Hits me like a shockwave grinding steel. Someone yelling measurements. Constant beep, beep, beep from a scissor lift. Backing up, dust floating everywhere in the air. Walk carefully through muddy ground, avoiding puddles. Spot Big Tony near a stack of steel rebar. He's studying something on a tablet. He's even larger up close, smells faintly like black coffee and worn leather. I walk straight up to him. Excuse me, foreman. He doesn't react. Immediately finishes typing something first, then slowly turns his head and looks down at me. I literally have to tilt my neck upward. Can I help you? Ma'am, you should stay inside the green safety zones. This is an active site. I'm Hazel, HR director for Brightlayer, the client company. Tony nods, one's face completely neutral. All right, Hazel, what can I do for the client today? We need to address your crew's conduct, tell him. I've observed behavior violating our workplace culture policies and our contract's anti-harassment provisions. His eyes narrow, slightly barely noticeable. Is that so? My crew's mostly focused on their work, ma'am. The language being used is exclusionary and frankly outdated. To ensure compliance, I'm scheduling a mandatory training seminar tomorrow, Friday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Attendance required. He pauses. Mandatory? Yes, per clause 3.4 subsection B in the contract addendum. He scratches his beard. And who exactly are you expecting in this training? Everyone. You, subcontractors, apprentices, laborers. Every single worker currently on site. He looks at me, then glances down at his watch, then calls over one of his plumbers, guy named Carl Short. Thick build. Looks like he chews gravel for breakfast. Carl raises one eyebrow silently. Tony turns back toward me. I expect pushback. I expect something like, "Lady, we have deadlines." Instead, I see something odd cross his face, almost like amusement or maybe calculation. He pulls a small black notebook from his vest pocket, licks his thumb, flips through pages. Friday, 1,300 hours. That's right in the middle of rough-in stage. Stopping work means full site shutdown and restart procedures. I stand firm. Culture comes first, Tony. We build people before we build structures. I actually said that out loud, felt proud of it too. He studies the notebook again, then shrugs slightly. Well, if the client issues a direct stop work order for training, we comply. That's the job. Perfect, great. We'll host it in our main conference room, the Idea Lab. I expect full attendance. No phones allowed. Understood. You got it. I'll notify the union steward. I walk back toward the office, feeling like I'm floating, adrenaline pumping through my body. I just confronted the biggest alpha in the building, and he folded immediately. He knows he's wrong. He knows the culture is evolving. Return to my desk. Text my boyfriend he's a bartender and write spoken word poetry. Just dismantled toxic masculinity at work. Champagne tonight. Friday arrives. Morning is absolute preparation mode. I treat this presentation like a TED Talk assemble, a 65 slide, deck memes, statistics impact, research, personal reflection, prompts arrange the conference room, push tables into a collaborative U-shape, layout, dim the overhead lights, turn on my essential oil diffuser, lavender mixed with eucalyptus, supposed to promote calm focus order, catering from a vegan cafe, nearby gluten-free blueberry muffins, kale chips, little bottles of ginger wellness, juice want to demonstrate that nourishment doesn't have to be greasy and heavy. 12:45 p.m. everything ready. I'm wearing my power blazer and smart glasses. 12:55 p.m. I hear them approaching. The sound echoes down the hallway. 40-plus pairs of steel-toe boots hitting polished concrete sounds like a marching platoon. Door swings open. Tony enters first, tool belt, removed but vest still covered in dirt, holding a clipboard and an old-school pen behind him. The rest of the crew files in: electricians, plumbers, drywall, installers, laborers, huge guys, thin guys, older veterans. Teenage apprentices room suddenly feels much smaller. Then the smell hits: sweat drywall, powder burned solder, damp jackets, instantly overwhelms the lavender diffuser. It smells like real work. They all take seats. I expect joking, man-spreading side conversations. None of that happens. They sit upright, quiet, attentive. Tony sits front row center, Carl the plumber on his right, Dave, the electrical foreman, on his left. Tony clicks his pen and looks straight at me. Everyone present and accounted for, ma'am. Clock's running. His tone polite, almost suspiciously polite. I begin the seminar. Welcome everyone. I'm Hazel. Complete silence, 45 pairs of eyes staring without blinking. I continue. I know you're used to building walls. Today we're going to tear some of them down. I pause, waiting for someone to react to the metaphor. Nothing. Tony just writes something down on his clipboard. I start the slide deck. Slide 5 shows the gingerbread gender diagram. I explain expression versus identity versus attraction. Waiting for someone to smirk, waiting for elbow nudges or snickering. None of that happens. They're staring at the screen like it's a safety briefing, complete focus. Carl, the plumber, raises his hand. Yes, Carl? Ma'am? Regarding the spectrum diagram, is that supposed to be interpreted as a linear scale or more like a multi-axis coordinate system? I blink. It's more of a fluid spectrum concept. He nods slowly. Understood. Non-binary variable model. Thank you. He writes something in a small notebook. I'm confused but also encouraged. They're actually engaging with the material. 1:45 p.m. We move into the inclusive language section, put up the slide listing, discouraged words. Guys, dude, foreman, manpower, man hours. I explain that terms like manpower erase contributions from women and non-binary workers. Tony raises his hand. Miss Hazel? Yes, Tony? Just to confirm something. For our daily logs and billing records, you're instructing us to stop using the term man-hour? Correct. It's outdated terminology. We recommend person hours or labor units instead. Tony glances sideways at Dave the electrician. Dave nods once Tony writes it down carefully, then underlines it twice. Copy that. Official terminology change. Labor units going forward. Dave raises his hand. Next, ma'am, in electrical work, we commonly use terms like master and slave for control circuits. Also male and female connectors for plugs. Are those considered unacceptable as well? Yes, absolutely. Those terms come from oppressive historical language. Better alternatives would be primary and secondary, and plug with receptacle. Dave's face becomes very serious. That will require revisions to several schematics, ma'am. But if it's the client directive, then that's what we do. He starts writing quickly. Update diagrams to reflect cultural compliance standards. I feel this wave of power. I'm literally reshaping the language used in construction trades in real time. 2:30 p.m. energy in the room feels heavy now. Not angry, just extremely intense. I decide we need an activity. Okay, let's try a role-play exercise. I ask for volunteers. Tony stands immediately. I'll volunteer. Ma'am, great. And Carl, I'll need you too. Carl stands. Tony, you are a supervisor. Carl, you're a new employee who uses they've/them pronouns. Carl made a mistake during installation. Correct them without gendered language. Tony turns toward Carl. Room becomes completely silent. Tony inhales slowly. Carl, valued team member. I notice the conduit line is slightly out of plumb. As a respected individual with full professional agency, could you please correct the vertical alignment of that installation? Carl nods seriously. Thank you for the constructive feedback, supervisor. I will adjust the spatial alignment immediately. The conversation sounds like two corporate chatbots talking, but technically it follows the guidelines. Excellent. I clap my hands. See, that wasn't difficult. Tony sits down. No, ma'am. Just requires a different cognitive load. He writes something again. Cognitive load. I hear him mutter quietly. 3:15 p.m. I'm running low on material. They aren't arguing with anything, so I can't rebut them. I move to the privilege walk visualization. Everyone close your eyes. They all do it instantly. Imagine a world where buildings aren't designed for your body type, where safety equipment never fits properly, where the everyday language used around you constantly excludes you. Sit with that discomfort for a moment. Room stays silent. 10 full minutes pass. I watch them quietly. Some have their heads lowered. Tony has one hand covering his eyes. I swear I see his shoulders shaking slightly. Is he crying? Did the message actually break through? My chest fills with pride. This must be the breakthrough moment. 3:55 p.m. Okay, everyone, you can open your eyes. Tony looks up slowly. His eyes are red. He looks worn out. That was heavy, ma'am. Growth often is, Tony. Yes, ma'am, it is. 4 p.m. seminar. Finished. Thank you all for participating. Please grab muffins on your way out. Tony stands. All right, crew. Site secured. Log the code. Let's roll. They leave in orderly lines. Quiet professional. Nobody touches the muffins soon. The room is empty. Diffuser has run dry. I feel drained but victorious. Send Ryan an email. Immediately subject line. Huge success. Culture transformation. Achieved. Go home that night. Drink 3 glasses of wine. Sleep like someone who saved the world. 1 week later, still riding that high. Haven't seen the construction crew much. They've been working quietly Friday afternoon. Around 2 p.m., Slack message pops up from Ryan. Come to my office now. No emoji. Ryan always uses emojis. Walk down the hallway, door already open. Ryan sitting behind his desk, looking pale. Another man sitting across from him, sharp suit, slicked hair, cold eyes, looks like a shark, disguised as a lawyer. Ryan says, "Sit down," his voice shaking. I sit slowly. What's going on? Ryan slides a document across the desk toward me. It's an invoice number 5172, revision A. I scan to the bottom line, total. Due, $38,920. I actually gasp. What is this? The suit guy answers calmly. That would be the bill for yesterday's seminar you conducted. I laugh awkwardly. That can't be real. It was 3 hours. You can't charge almost $40,000 for 3 hours of work. The guy smiles. Not a friendly smile, the kind sharks make before biting. Miss Hazel, allow me to explain the breakdown. He opens a thick binder. Item 1, 46 union tradesmen multiplied by 3 hours. Base wage averages $58. However, the billable burdened rate is $145 per hour. That includes benefits, pension contributions, insurance, and overhead. I do the math in my head, around $20,000 already. Okay, so where does the rest come from? The shark taps another line. Item 2, consultant classification. Excuse me? Per Section 12 of the Collective Labor Agreement. Any mandatory activity ordered by a client that does not relate to construction output or safety certification becomes consulting work. When you stop production to teach theory, they were no longer laborers. They were consultants. Consultants? Correct. Consulting rate is double the burdened rate, $290 per hour. My mouth just hangs open. You can't do that. We absolutely can. And we did. Foreman, Tony specifically documented that you described the seminar as mandatory policy implementation. That qualifies the crew as policy consultants. I glance at Ryan. He looks pale like he might throw up. It gets worse, Ryan mutters. Look at the addendums. I flip the page. Item 3. Administrative restructuring. $4,800. The shark explains smoothly. During your seminar, you instructed electrical and plumbing supervisors to alter technical terminology, man hours to labor units, master/slave to primary/secondary, male-female connectors renamed plug and receptacle. That required updates to our documentation and software and blueprint revisions. You are billed for the administrative hours. My head feels light, then I see the last one. Item 4. Psychological decompression allowance, $5,200. What the hell is this? I practically yell. The shark checks his binder notes. Ah, yes. The visualization exercise. Your privilege walk meditation involved emotional stress and trauma reflection. Under union wellness guidelines, workers exposed to psychological strain qualify for a cool-down period. The crew utilized the final hour of the shift to process their emotional state. Paid at overtime rate. Suddenly it clicks. Tony covering his eyes, shoulders shaking. I thought he was crying. He wasn't crying. He was laughing. They were burning the clock while the meter ran. "This is fraud!" I shout. The shark closes the binder calmly. "No, Miss Hazel. This is a contract. You invoked the contract terms. We simply followed them." Ryan slams his hand on the desk. "Hazel, this invoice wipes out our entire second quarter bonus pool. It kills the launch event. It even cancels the new espresso bar. Ryan, I was trying to improve the workplace culture. You bought us a $39,000 lecture nobody asked for." He rubs his face. "You know what Tony told me on the phone? He said that was the most profitable afternoon his crew has had all year. He asked if you're planning a follow-up seminar, the aftermath." I'm placed on immediate administrative leave, which basically means termination, once legal paperwork is ready. I go back to my desk pack, everything into a recycled cardboard box, essential oil diffuser, 2 succulents, my ally coffee mug. I walk out the rear exit. Rain is pouring now to reach my car. I have to pass the construction site. Crew is wrapping up for the weekend. I see Tony leaning against his enormous Ford F-35. Oh, platinum truck, looks gigantic. Probably costs more than my student loans. He notices me carrying the box. He doesn't smirk, doesn't gloat, just gives a slow, respectful nod. "Evening, Miss Hazel," his voice calm. I stop in the muddy gravel rain, soaking through my blazer. "You knew?" I say. "You knew exactly what you were doing." Tony opens his truck door, looks at me with tired eyes that have probably seen 30 years of job sites. "Ma'am, I've been union for 30 years. I know every sentence in that bargaining agreement." He points a rough finger toward me. "Folks in offices think you're the only ones who understand power. We understand power just fine. Power is getting paid for your time. Power is the contract." "I was trying to help you," I say quietly. "I was trying to make you better men." Tony chuckles softly, dry, tired laugh. "We didn't ask for help. We sell our backs and our hands to companies like yours. We don't sell our minds. If you want to rent our minds for 3 hours, that costs extra." "The jerk tax," I mutter. Tony smiles slightly. "Consulting fee, ma'am." "Consulting fee." He climbs into the truck and fires up the engine. It roars loud in the rain. Carl walks by carrying a pipe wrench, tips his hard hat toward me. "Have a good weekend. Foreman's taking the crew out for steak tonight. Paid from the emotional recovery budget." He winks. The crew laughs, not cruel laughter, just the sound of guys who got paid. I trudge through the rain to my Camry. Sit down inside. Car smells like wet fabric and disappointment. Watch the line of massive trucks pull out of the lot. Ford, Chevy, Ram, $80,000 trucks. My phone buzzes, bank notification, student loan payment due tomorrow, $480. I check my balance, $112 in my account. Those guys just made $800 each sitting through my PowerPoint. I start the car wipers slapping against the windshield. Realization hits me. I didn't dismantle the patriarchy. I funded it, and they even sent me the invoice. I drive away wondering if the cafe down the street is hiring and whether baristas have a union.